While in New Zealand, Cook dedicated the majority of his time charting the island and interacting with the native Maori population. On the 8th of October 1779, land had been sighted, with Nicholas Young, the cabin boy on board, being the first member to have spotted New Zealand. As the Endeavour laid anchor, Cook named the bay Young Nick's Head. Upon landing ashore and noticing smoke in the distance, Cook alongside several other sailors went inland, wishing to establish first contact. The party was split into two groups. A single party headed inland, whilst the second guarded the boats. It was during this time that the guard party was met by a sudden arrival of several Maoris wielding spears. Despite attempts at diplomacy by the sailors, the Maoris threw their spears, causing the British to open fire in response, killing one Maori, whilst the others ran in panic. The following day, Cook attempted to re-establish contact with the Maori on shore, this time accompanied by Tupai, a Polynesian who had joined while in Tahiti. Despite linguistic differences, similarities in the Polynesian language allowed Tupai to partially open communication. Yet despite Cook's offers of gifts as a show of friendship, the killing the day prior had left the Maoris violent. In the scuffle that ensued, one Maori attempted to grab a sailor's sword, resulting in the British opening fire once again. In the afternoon, heavy waves forced Cook to call off further stay on shore. Whilst on board the Endeavour, two Maori canoes were spotted in the distance. Due to previous failed interactions, Cook decided instead to capture the Maoris by force. As the British attempted to capture the Maoris, they responded by attacking the rowboats as they approached. In response, the sailors opened fire, killing several Maori and wounding 3 others. The rest jumped overboard and were captured soon after. Attempting to gain the trust of the captured Maoris, Cook showered them with food, alcohol, and gifts. Due to already dwindling stocks, Cook hoped that the trust gained would help them gain desperately needed supplies from the Maoris. Despite initial resentment, the captured Maoris overcame their hostilities, thus allowing communication to be properly facilitated through Tupai. The following day, the captured Maori were released on shore. Despite an end to hostilities, no supplies were provided. As a result of the recent incident, Cook decided it best to leave the area. As a result of leaving empty-handed, Cook renamed the inlet to Poverty Bay. After departing, the Endeavour made way further along the coast of Matau-a-Maui. As a sign of gratitude towards the man who promoted him prior to the voyage, Cook initially named the coast's inlet Hawke's Bay. On the 15th of October 1779, whilst off of Matau-a-Maui, a second encounter with a Maori canoe occurred. As it approached the Endeavour, Tupai attempted to negotiate with the Maoris, hoping to trade commodities on board for fish. In response, the Maoris grabbed hold of Tupai, thus attempting a kidnapping. In quick response, the British opened fire at the canoes, killing and injuring several Maoris as Tupai leaped overboard and was rescued. In reference to the incident, Cook renamed the inlet from Hawke to Kidnappers Bay. From here on, the Endeavour continued to Cape Turnagain, and on the 3rd of November 1779, laid anchor. The 10 days on shore would be dedicated to observing Mercury's orbital transit, and as such, the bay was named by Cook Mercury Bay. Prior to departing, the sailors carved into one of the trees the current date and the ship's inscription, Endeavour. Sailing further north, Cook eventually reached the Bay of Islands. On the 13th of December, strong waves forced the ships miles off course from shore. In the distance, a French warship commanded by de Surveyor was blown off course also. Despite existing hostilities between the two nations, neither ship was aware of one another's presence. By early January 1770, the Endeavour had sailed around the tip of the North Island, now onto the western coast. Sighting Mount Taranaki in the distance, Cook renamed it Egmont, in honour of Britain's first Lord Admiral, and on the 14th of January, the Endeavour had reached the South Island. Arriving at a broad and deep bay, the bay became a perfect inlet for docking ships. Upon laying claim to the land, the inlet was named Queen Charlotte Sound. Contact was once again established with the Maori. However, unlike previous encounters, friendly relations were established without violence. As a result, Cook's ships were successfully replenished with supplies, and on the 6th of February, the Endeavour made sail towards the Cook Strait. By March the 13th, much of the southern island had been rounded. By the 31st of March, 1770, Cook had charted 2,400 miles of New Zealand's coastline in less than 6 months. After stopping temporarily in Admiralty Bay, Cook finally departed New Zealand, thus resuming his search for the legendary continent of Terra Australis. He would later return on further explorations of New Zealand in 1773, and again in 1777. From his accounts of New Zealand, he described the Maori as being strong, raw-boned, well-made, and above that of the common size. He was fascinated by their mat-like clothing, which were woven from plants and decorated with feathers. However, despite all this, he also noted both their reputation and gruesome acts of cannibalism.